started. Thanks to everybody for jumping on today. My name is Michelle Nelson. I work with the Division of Career and Technical Education, and I'm your host for this session. And our presenters are Tara, Sara, and Allie. They are all career advisors with the Career Launch Program, which started a couple of years ago here in South Dakota. And they are going to talk to you about that program and what is offered with it. So I will go ahead and hand it over to them.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. And thank you, everybody, for telling us what your dreams were. Very cool. Chances are, though, no matter what your dream job was, you might have needed a little help, a little extra help, or a push at some point to help you reach your goals and your dreams. Your dreams might have changed like mine did a couple of times. They might have changed again and again, and that's okay. What we're here today to tell you about is about career launch programming with South Dakota Department of Labor and Regulation, where we can help your students figure out the path that they want to reach their dreams, and we can also help give them some of those tools to reach those dreams. So I'm going to turn it over to Sara to get started.
Hi everyone, I'm Sara. So welcome to Career Launch, Making Adulting Fun since 2018. Thank you for those who wrote in the chat box what you wanted to be growing up. And I agree with you, Tara. I also changed my mind a million times. So in case you missed it, my name's Sara, also here with Allie and Tara, and the three of us are located in Yankton and Sioux Falls. But before we get started, we just want to do a quick tech check and go over a couple of the tools that we might be using, because we want this to be a fun presentation. So we're just going to go over a couple of tools. So I'm going to turn it back over to Tara.
Thanks, Sara. Okay, so this afternoon we're going to be utilizing Zoom, which many of you are probably all of you are super familiar with. You've been utilizing it in your classrooms or through online meetings because of COVID-19. So you're probably familiar with it, but we just wanted to run through some things that we will be utilizing today during our presentation. So if you find your Zoom toolbar, most of you, it's probably on your bottom of your screen. If it disappears, you might just have to hover over it till it comes up again. Left-hand side is the mute button. You can turn that on or off. If you would like to talk or ask a question, that's how you can unmute yourself. We ask that you just keep it muted just so we can eliminate any background noise during the presentation, but please unmute yourself if you would like to ask a question. Next to that is the video button. So if you want to turn on or off your webcam to be able to see us or to let us see you, we'd love it. So up to you if you want to keep your camera on or off. Then there's also the participant list where there are some different nonverbal communication options like raising your hand. So if you have a question and you want us to address you, you can raise your hand. Next to that is the yes and no buttons, and we will utilize those for a little Mythbuster game, career launch style. We're gonna play a game and we're gonna have you guys utilize those buttons. So look for those when we play that. And then the chat box as well. You can enter any questions that you have into the chat that come up throughout the presentation that you're thinking about. And then we'll monitor those. You guys can monitor it as well. Michelle will help us in making sure those questions all get answered for you. And then just for a reminder, presentation purposes, just have yourselves muted. But if you want to keep your cameras on, great. We'd love to see you. And then anything, Allie, Sara, anything I forgot?
Nope, sounds good.
You're good.
All right. All right, here we go.
So what is Career Launch? It was created to increase student awareness about career opportunities in your own communities. So while we're doing that, we're also looking to help them meet the needs of South Dakota and meeting the demand for a skilled workforce. Our goal is to ensure students graduate with a clear understanding of opportunities available within our job market, the paths available to them, and the pros and cons of the routes that they may choose. We are also have a bunch of different services that we can currently provide, and we'll be providing those to schools statewide starting in January 2021. A few of the different services and deliveries and how we deliver them are here on this list. We can do one-on-one career advising, We can sit down with the student if they have questions or want to explore deeper, whether they are wanting to join the workforce right away, or maybe they want to explore tech school or going to college, a four-year university, and kind of what that would look like, what jobs are available in that field, how they're going to get there, what it's going to cost to get there, different things like that. We also provide a soft skills training, Bring Your A Game. We do classroom presentations, either done by us, or we can bring in industry speakers to speak to the classroom, which students love to hear that firsthand experience from somebody, and businesses love to come in front of students as well. So it's kind of a win-win on everybody's part. We can do career fairs at your school. We're also able to do job shadows for your students, help with resumes, cover letters, mock interviews, those things that maybe they don't feel as comfortable with going into that first job interview. We can look at labor market information. We also have a program called Workforce Initiative and Opportunity Act, WIOA, and we'll go into that next about what that's all about.
So, like Allie said, some of you may have heard of WIOA, or what it stands for, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It's also known as Title I, WIOA, WIOA. It goes by many names. And so we just want to take some time and talk about this because you might have some questions about it. WIOA was designed to help job seekers access employer, education, training, and other support services to succeed in the labor market and to match employers with skilled workers that they need to compete in our current economy.
So what are the benefits to students with WIOA? So what students are going to get is they're going to get individualized case planning with Department of Labor Services. And they're either going to have a career advisor like one of us, if they're lucky enough, or they might get an employment specialist from one of their local Department of Labor offices as a direct contact or as a case manager to help them individually walk through some of the services. What this is going to do is to help improve the structure and delivery of services while also providing workforce development activities that increase post-secondary certificate attainment. So they're going to attend post-secondary opportunities, and the attainment of certificates, degrees is going to be higher. They'll also have higher employment retention. So by utilizing support services and someone help them one-on-one, they will obtain and retain employment a lot better. And then people who have these services also have increased earnings. So they end up making more, and they end up doing more when they get into the workforce. So win-win for everybody.
What you might not know about WIOA is that there is funding sources to assist the individuals who do qualify. It helps them with their career choices and or changes along the way. We can financially assist with things like internships, job shadows, work experiences, on-the-job trainings, and offer many different incentives to the youth who participate in this career exploration planning with us. We can help them, again, with cover letters, resumes, career exploration, labor market information, all of those things, and sometimes provide incentives to those students. And the kicker is that we can also help pay for certain educational opportunities for the youth, including tuition and fees, depending on kind of what they're going for and what they want to be and what their goals are. So that's a pretty great opportunity for some of the students that qualify.
So we want to show you a video, kind of a sample presentation about Career Launch. It's a presentation that we like to provide for your students so that the student can learn more about Career Launch, more about the career planning that we can assist them with, and give them an idea of what WIOA is and how they can benefit from it. We like to use this as like a first connection for students doing a presentation like this, just so we have a starting point. And so students are aware of what's available to them, because I think a lot of them don't know about us. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Tara to play our presentation, and we really, really hope it works. I think it will.
Hello and good afternoon. My name is Sara, and I am here with my coworkers Tara and Allie. We're from the South Dakota Department of Labor to talk to you about opportunities that are available to you right now through the Department of Labor's youth program, Career Launch.
Now I know what a few of you might be thinking right now. Oh great, I get to sit through a boring presentation given by boring government workers about some boring government program. And to those of you who think that, congratulations, you are correct. But guess what? We have permission to speak to you for the next half an hour or so, so buckle up. There might even be a small chance that you will hear something that applies to you.
So this is Career Launch. What you see before you is a very brief summary of some of the services we have available for you. Now, I threw up a roadmap up here to help you visualize a path. Every one of you is somewhere a little bit different on the path to career readiness. Because every person has different goals and aspirations, everybody's path is going to look a bit different. Where are you on this path? Are you ready for college? Ready to join the workforce? Maybe you have everything figured out. Or maybe you have millionaire parents. Maybe some of you have an efficient money printing machine in your basement. Chances are you're somewhere on the top. Thinking about what you want to do, or still figuring out some of the details if you already have an idea. Do you know what you want to do for the rest of your life? Let's say you want to be a nurse. Now that's great. Do you know any nurses? What about schooling? Where do you plan on studying? How much does that cost? Are you going to live there or commute? How long will it take? Are you going to have to apply for any student loans? Some people really do have a lot of this figured out, and a big kudos to those who do. But for the rest of us, I'm willing to bet that there are still a few things we aren't sure about.
Look, there are a lot of jobs out there, thousands. Some you'll be better at than others. I would be a terrible auto mechanic. I'm clumsy, I hate being dirty, and have no mechanic abilities. The list could go on and on as to why I would be terrible at it. That's simply why I don't do it. The same goes for you. There are things you are good at and things that you aren't. First step in finding a great career is asking yourself, does this job match my interests? Will I be doing things during my workday that I'm interested in doing? Then, what am I good at? This isn't to say you can't learn or be trained. It's to say that it's worth considering your strengths and weaknesses when choosing a career. The next question is typically, how much money do I want? You want to earn enough to pay the bills, but how much does it cost to live these days? Which leads to our next question, what type of lifestyle do you want to live? Do you want kids? Do you want sports cars? Do you want both? I'm not here to judge you, just here to help you figure out what your priorities are. Another good question is, what type of benefits do I need? Maybe you aren't thinking about that right now, but there will be a time when you will want to think about how much paid time off, how much insurance or what kind of insurance you want, and also retirement. But it all starts with, where do I start? I think everyone could benefit from doing a little career exploration. Even if you think you have it all figured out right now, we can help you explore all your options. Then, will you need more training? Some jobs you don't need any more training than what the employer is going to give you, while other jobs you need some kind of specialized training. There are many different types of training options available to you today, such as apprenticeships, 2 or 4 year post-secondary institutions, and much, much more. There's not one course or pathway that fits everyone. And then that also brings up the cost of training. It's not uncommon for people to graduate college with up to $50,000 in student loan debt or more. What's your plan for that? It is worth knowing if there are jobs available in your field when you're done. I'm not here to talk you out of pursuing your dream job. I'm here to say that if you leave college with $50,000 in debt, it's nice to know that there are jobs out there waiting for you to come in and apply. The point of all this is that the Department of Labor has services that can help you answer all of these questions. We don't tell you what job you should pursue. Rather, we want to help you investigate careers that work for you.
Now let's take a minute to talk about soft skills. As an agency, the Department of Labor has talked to hundreds of businesses statewide, and we keep an eye on employment trends nationwide. So believe me when I tell you that soft skills are concepts that are on the minds of today's employers. But what are soft skills? What does that even mean? If you ask me, it's a terrible name. As a matter of fact, I've tried to get people to stop calling it soft skills and start calling it rock hard, everybody gotta have them skills. But they didn't really catch on. I can't see why. Look, you might be immensely talented at something, and you might have the hard skills, which are job-specific skills needed to do the job. For instance, if you are an emergency room doctor, a hard skill you might have is keeping people from dying. Don't get me wrong, that's really important, but it's not the only thing that will make you successful in the workplace. If you take soft skills training from us, you'll learn the Bring Your A Game to Work method, which focuses on the 7 A's everybody needs to be successful at work. It starts with attendance. There is a lot to be said for showing up when you are scheduled. Appearance doesn't always mean looking as cool as possible. It also doesn't mean showing up in a dirty shirt and sweatpants. Most employers have a pretty good idea about what they want, so if you don't know, you better ask. Attitude is more than speaking respectfully. It's a state of mind. It's about being positive even when the tasks you are performing aren't your favorite. Your boss can tell if you hate your job, and so can the customers. Ambition. Do you go the extra mile? Do you go above and beyond for the customer? Having ambition shows that you care about your job, your employer, the customers, and I'll tell you this, when the promotions come around, they go to the people who have ambition. Acceptance. What does this mean? It could mean accepting your other coworkers or accepting rules, but I want to add that accepting is accepting the tasks associated with the job. So remember, when you accept a job, you accept the tasks associated with it. If you can't stand the idea of doing something, it's simple. Don't take the job. Accountability. It's easy to define, but hard to practice. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. Communicate your needs and own up to your own mistakes. It's harder than it sounds. Lastly, appreciation. Demonstrate gratitude towards others, your coworkers, customers, your teachers, managers, anyone who goes out of their way to do something for you even if it seems small. Remember, these are the people who are helping you pave the way for your dreams. Now these things might sound simple and they might sound obvious, but soft skills, like anything, need to be learned and then practiced. These classes aren't just taught for youth in school, they are taught to CEOs and company presidents. These skills are important to everyone.
You might think that you can whip out a perfect resume and a cover letter in about 15 minutes. And if you can, I salute you, because mine took a lot longer to work on. And then I had to go back and work on it some more, and then some more. A competitive job can get dozens or even hundreds of applications. And if your resume is filled with errors, bad references, useless information, some truth stretching, or if it's covered in coffee stains and Cheeto dust, you might want to have a professional take a look at it. And we've got the resources and the staff to help you create a resume that doesn't end up at the bottom of the pile, or worse, in the trash.
Okay, so you applied for a job, and wouldn't you know it, you got called for an interview. The interview is truly yours to blow. One way to reduce completely blowing it and looking like a fool is to practice a few times. We all know that practice makes perfect. So here are some common interview questions you should practice before an interview. And also, if you are interested, we can arrange with you to set up what's called a mock interview. It's a practice run. If you need extra help, we can do it again and again until you feel completely ready to do a real interview with a real employer.
Now, none of us are born with the skills necessary to have a successful career. We've talked about a few ways that you can get you ready to help you enter the workforce. This stage is a major step towards completing that goal, the work experience. Now, think intern, but better. Now, when someone hears the word intern, they think, I'm not being paid and I'm going to be yelled at by a bunch of old people about their coffee. That's true in some cases, but not necessarily this one. Now, I haven't gotten around to talking about this because with almost everything we do, almost everyone can participate. However, there are a few services that call for someone to qualify. There are different ways that you can qualify, and if you are interested in participating in any of these programs, come talk to me because we truly have programs for everyone. Now, assuming that you do qualify, we have a program that can pay you for a work experience. The Department of Labor would hire you, congratulations, and find a placement for you in a work environment that speaks to you. If you don't qualify for this program, we can still do everything up until this point and still help you find an internship or the perfect job. What kind of occupations can we help you with? Cooks and chefs, electricians, broccoli farmers, auto technicians, healthcare, construction, scientists, law enforcement, education, emergency services, artists, meat cutting, and welding, and so much more. Department of Labor partners with businesses throughout the state. So if there is a career you dream of and want to see what it's like firsthand, come talk to us. I can't make you a doctor overnight, and I probably can't even teach you how to sweep the floors efficiently. But what I can do is help you find an experience working with and around professionals who are actively engaged in an occupation that interests you.
Okay, we've talked about qualifying, and I'm going to throw another service out there that you will have to qualify for. Before I do this, I want to point out that if your career path takes you onward to post-secondary training, that the Department of Labor is a great resource for you, regardless of whether you qualify for funding or not. Through the process of career exploration, you'll learn what kind of education you need to move forward with the profession you're pursuing. The Department of Labor can help you with your FAFSA, can help you locate and apply for scholarships, can help you figure out how much it's going to cost you to go and what the average wage might be when you're done. For those of you who do qualify for the Department of Labor, we have grant opportunities available that can assist you financially in getting the training you need to join the workforce. We offer grants for specific programs offered throughout the state. How do you know if you qualify? You just need to make an appointment to meet with us. It's a relatively painless process. I won't lie, there are some paperwork up front, but getting some testing done. But you'll get through it, and when you do, you'll find that there are professionals waiting and willing to work with you. All right, that's been our time with you today, and if you have any questions, make sure to reach out to us at the Department of Labor.
All right, guys, are you ready to play a game? We're gonna play Mythbusters career launch style. Please choose your response if you click your participant tab at the way bottom of your Zoom screen. It says participants. You pull it up, you can click yes for true or no for false. And then we'll kind of see what everybody answers and give you the correct answer afterwards. So if you guys are ready to play the game, let's go to the next slide, Tara. First question, career launch can assist your students with a job shadow, true or false?
We got a lot of greens there, Allie.
All right. Well, and you guys are correct. The answer is true. Last school year, we placed over 130 students in job shadows throughout the state. Most of them were juniors and seniors, although we have helped students of all ages in high school, from freshmen to sophomore or to seniors, and from a variety of different places, from veterinarians to teachers to electricians to chefs. So it's a pretty cool experience for your students.
All right, so true or false? Students need to qualify for WIOA to participate in career lunch services. Do you guys think that this question is true or false?
Oh, kind of had a little bit of a split. We're kind of a little bit more heavy on the red on the nose, Sarah.
Yeah. So the answer is false. We can assist all your students. It's just if students qualify for that WIOA funding, if they're enrolled in that program, there's additional funding opportunities for them. So for example, like in the last true and false question, it asked if we can do job shadows. Yes, we can do job shadows with everyone, but if the student is in WIOA, we may be able to pay for their time at that job shadow. So that's kind of the difference.
Okay, next question. Youth retain more knowledge through hands-on activities. True or false? All right, looks like we got mostly yeses, which is correct. True. As many of us are aware that doing that hands-on activity, kids tend to learn a little bit better. A statistic is that 95% of all students that participate in CT courses graduate from high school within that 4 years.
So career advisors teach soft skills to students through a curriculum called Bring Your C Game. Do you think that's true or false?
Oh, looks like we didn't trick them. I think they caught it.
Right? The true answer is false. It is called Bring Your A Game. And there is a presentation tomorrow about it if anybody wanted to check that out.
Yeah, 9 a.m. Jamie Burr is going to be doing a presentation about Bring Your A Game, so go check her out.
Healthcare related internships were the most common in 2019. And true or false? Well, it looks pretty half and half. So true, healthcare is a big selection for our students, a big choice. So healthcare related for nearly 20% of all the internships that we provided last school year, or last 2019. And on top of that, there was also physical therapy. There was people working at Lifescape or doing medical research, dental hygienists. All those things are kind of a big ticket item for our students. They really love the health careers right now.
Okay, this is the last one. So students who dislike a work-based learning opportunity are considered to be a failure. Do you guys believe that that is a true statement or a false statement? Looks like most of you are
Do them on days, other
no.
Heavy on the red.
Okay. The answer is false. We do believe that it is valuable to know what you don't like as well as what you do like. So we've had, I feel like nursing and veterinarians are the main two where students are absolutely like, I want to do this career 100%. And then when we actually put them in a job shadow or in some kind of work-based learning in that environment, they decide whether it's the needles or the blood or the science that they have to know, they just don't like it. So then that's actually a win, because before they go to college and spend 4 years or more and go through all the money and everything for college, they're figuring out ahead of time that that's not what they want to do, and then they can focus on finding a career that really is what they want to do.
And even along the same lines as that, as what Sara just said, you know, I know one of the biggest things that we've talked about in Yankton, and I've heard Dr. Jonke talk about, is, you know, we've had a few interns that struggled with their internship and actually were fired. So in that sense, sometimes, you know, we've had people say, well, don't they fail the course? And we say, absolutely not. Being fired from a job is equally as important of a learning experience as having a successful one that you make it the whole way through. For one, they might have learned that that wasn't the career field for them, but two, they also learned how to take that disappointment and how to handle that and how to recover and bounce back from it. In Yankton, we've had a couple of interns who were fired or let go from their internships, then got placed again and had a successful opportunity or successful participation. So just because they get fired and they don't have a success in one doesn't mean that it's a successful experience for them.
So what do our students say? Here is a video that one of our students made. His name is Josiah, and he had a pretty fantastic internship experience. He was enrolled in an internship course through his school, and he also qualified to be part of our WIOA program, so he got paid for his time spent at his internship along with receiving his credits at through his school. He made this awesome video to kind of recap his experience, and we really wanted to share it with you guys. So check out.
Okay, Sarah and Allie, technical difficulties. The video is not playing. Do either of you have it?
Yeah, I should be able to do some digging, and maybe I can put it in the chat if anybody wanted to check it out at a later time. But he just kind of recaps everything that he learned. And then he also talks about his mentors. Sorry.
Is there a way I can share my screen and play it at the same time? Let me see.
Yes, Allie, you should be able to do it. Sorry, guys. It was working earlier.
Hi, it's me, Josiah, coming to you from White Wall Sessions, and instead of making an online presentation, I've decided to make a video to tell you about all of the cool and interesting things I've learned and experienced. First of all, White Wall Sessions is a music studio in the lower level of Last Stop on East 10th Street. White Wall Sessions has many things to offer, as it has its own television show and many YouTube videos. The main thing recorded down here is music from a variety of different bands. Some are local and others travel from across the nation to perform in the studio. My time spent down here has been an amazing experience. I have been part of many unique and interesting things. I've worked on things like concerts, events, webinar streams, networking, photography, studio prep, audio, film, directing, and lighting. With that being said, I have learned many of these things in depth and will keep learning more as my time here is extended through second semester. So here's a shout out to the people who run White Wall Sessions. The best mentor and person, Mike, who has been training me. Jeff, the genius, for teaching me interesting things. Dave for being the master at engineering, and Dan for being the coolest host in Sioux Falls in my opinion. All of these people have taught me so much, and I look up to all four of them. Another shout out to Last Stop for letting me help with things and meeting all of them. And Jennifer for being one of the coolest artists in Sioux Falls and showing me some of her projects. So these are the people I work with, and just want to give them credit and say thanks. I've learned so much from being here. From instruments like the guitar, piano, and drums. Worked with audio, learned about frequency, EQ, and different aspects of engineering, and lighting as well. As I set up lighting for headshots, videos, interviews, streams, and background lighting techniques. I also created and developed DMX lighting scenes. Camera work is another skill I have gained from being here, from live streams, recording bands, professional commercial production, and I also edited songs for the radio. I could keep going on and on about everything I do here. If you have any questions, let me know. That's all from the intern at White Wall Sessions.
Got a couple cool comments in the chat box. Did you see that, Allie?
Yeah, he had a great experience. He actually also got offered a job afterwards and graduated high school and continues to work there, doing wonderful things, and he absolutely loves it. So he's done a great job.
He really is a good kid, and that was a great experience. It's been awesome to see him do so well. So now we're going to talk about phase 2 updates, phase 2 of career launch. The idea is to make efforts more sustainable and maximize our resources by increasing the number of schools and students that we are going to be serving. So we also want to make WIOA, like we talked about earlier, we want to make all those services more available and accessible to youth across the state as we expand our delivery. And that was really a driving force as to why we are moving to phase 2 of our program. And then we also want to talk about how we have virtual options. We know that this is just kind of a crazy time, as you are all very well aware. So we are adjusting some of our things so then we can reach out to these students virtually if we're not able to be in your school physically. We just want to be able to provide our services to your students in the best way and the safest way possible.
Yep, so just like Sarah said, all the services that we talked about in that video where we talked to kids about all the great things that we can help them with, the one-on-one stuff, career exploration, internships, job shadows, we can do informational interviewing, we can meet with them one-on-one. Everything we can do virtually so that we can meet the needs of students while we're all kind of adjusting to our new reality. So the other part of phase 2 is phase 2 of Career Launch provides expanded services to schools across the entire state. It started in a few pilot schools, including Rapid City, Sioux Falls, Brookings, and Yankton. And now we have expanded to have career advisors added in Huron and Aberdeen. But this regional model is really important for several reasons, because mainly so that we can reach more youth by partnering with more school districts like your guys's throughout the state. What we do is, it's not just a career advisor program. Career Launch is a program that all of Department of Labor utilizes, as all of our youth programs encompassed into one. So career advisors, employment specialists, and local offices, we're all wanting to invest in youth. And between all of us working together, we're hoping that we can serve all the schools in South Dakota. And with now career advisors having access to that Title I WIOA programming and funding, now we can help better connect youth to those financial services available to them to help support them along their career pathway as well.
We are thrilled that Career Launch is expanding to include schools across the state. We're so excited to reach all of those other communities in our state. And while we cannot wait to work with you guys, but we are faced with some unprecedented times with COVID-19, as everybody is. And as you guys are probably aware, Department of Labor and Regulations is working through an extremely high number of unemployment claims. And so this has resulted in reassigning our staff to other priorities at this time. So in reviewing our capacity, Career Launch services will be starting in January of 2021. And we did send out a survey last spring. If you did complete that and by chance haven't heard from us yet, we will still be reaching out to you guys and figuring out like how we could best serve you guys, what you're looking for, starting January 2021. And if you didn't complete the survey, no fear, you can still reach out to us and start our, see if we can come, we can come out and visit with you guys either virtually or in person or whatever works to see what we can provide to your school come January as well. If you have questions or would like to sign up for services, please contact Aaron Morlock. His email here is at the bottom of the page, aaron.morlock@state.sd.us, and he can assist you with any and all of your questions and get you to kind of the person that's in your community that would be able to provide services to you.
So at this time, if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and ask those questions. You can either email them or write them in the chat, not email, or you can do the Zoom Alt-Y and raise your hand and we can call on you. And just so you know, Tara did just put Aaron's email in the chat, so you can see that, you can copy it, and if you want to reach out to him about any additional questions, if we're not able to answer them. But yeah, I'll turn it over to you guys if you have any questions.
No questions from anybody? I also set it so you can unmute yourselves if you want to.
Yes, let's see those beautiful faces.
Well, I guess you answered all their questions in your presentation. Thank you, ladies. You did a wonderful job.
I see Delmar has a question.
You have one, okay.
Can we set up a time to talk about job shadow agreements, blank MOUs, and using WIOA? Absolutely. So if you have questions or want to set up some time to talk with one of us or talk about Career Launch and services we can provide, or if you have questions about the MOU, reach out to Aaron in that email. Yeah, absolutely. And Aaron's really good about getting back to you. What we'll probably do, and what we started doing before like COVID happened, we set up meetings with school districts to talk about career launch planning. And if you didn't get a chance to fill out that survey, Delmar, it kind of asks like what your school needs. And you guys kind of know that better than we would. And you kind of tell us what your needs are, what your students' needs are, whether that be if you need one-on-one career advisement for them in connection to Department of Labor programming, or if you need help with an internship program or help connecting students with businesses for job shadows and internships, things like that. We can kind of see what you need based on what your students' needs are, and then we can kind of come up with a game plan based on if that would be a career advisor helping or an employment specialist. So that is something we can set up with you to meet and talk about some of those